Kira Vithalis had spent 40 cycles studying the dangerous creatures of the galaxy. She had documented the venomous serpents of Dracon Prime. She had observed the massive tunnel worms of the desert planet Zereth. She had even survived an encounter with the psychic predators of the Mindfall Nebula. But nothing in her long career as a xenobiologist had prepared her for what she witnessed on the jungle moon of Theron 7. The research station sat on the edge of a massive rainforest. Trees rose hundreds of meters into the purple sky. Strange birds with 6 wings circled overhead. The air was thick and humid, filled with the sounds of 1,000 unknown creatures. Kira was a Valanthi, a species known for their intelligence and scientific achievements. Her people had blue skin and large dark eyes perfect for seeing in low light. They were physically weak compared to most galactic species. Their bodies were thin and fragile. They survived through technology and careful planning, never through brute force. That morning, she stood in the observation tower with her colleague, Dr. Phoenix Moore. He was a Krellian, a lizard-like being with green scales and a nervous disposition. They were monitoring movement patterns of local wildlife when the proximity alarms began screaming. "What is that?" Phoenix asked, his voice shaking as he looked at the scanner display. Kira felt her blood turn cold. The signature was unmistakable. An alpha beast was approaching the station. These creatures were the most feared predators in the known galaxy. They stood 4 meters tall on 6 powerful legs. Their bodies were covered in scales harder than starship armor. They had 3 heads, each filled with teeth that could bite through steel. No known weapon could kill them reliably. Even plasma cannons often failed to pierce their hide. "We need to evacuate," Kira said immediately. "Sound the emergency alarm." The station held 37 researchers from 12 different species. They had maybe 10 minutes before the alpha beast reached the outer perimeter. That was not enough time for a proper evacuation. The shuttle needed 20 minutes to power up for flight. Kira rushed down from the tower. Researchers were already flooding into the corridors. She could see the panic in their eyes. Everyone knew what an alpha beast could do. There were stories of these creatures destroying entire military outposts. They killed without mercy and seemed to enjoy causing terror. "Everyone to the underground bunker," she commanded. "Move quickly, but do not push." The bunker was their only hope. It was built deep beneath the station with reinforced walls meant to withstand natural disasters. Whether it could stop an alpha beast was unknown, but it was better than staying above ground. As she directed traffic, Kira noticed something strange. One of the researchers was walking against the crowd. He was moving toward the main entrance instead of the bunker. She recognized him as Marcus Cole, the human representative on the station. Humans were relatively new to the galactic community. They had achieved faster-than-light travel only about 200 years ago. Most species considered them primitive and unremarkable. They had no natural weapons like claws or fangs. They had no special abilities like telepathy or camouflage. They could not breathe underwater or survive in vacuum. They were just soft, fragile creatures from a small blue planet. "Human!" Kira shouted. "You are going the wrong way! The bunker is behind you!" Marcus turned to look at her. He was average height for his species, maybe 1.8 meters tall. He had brown hair and brown eyes. There was nothing special about his appearance. He wore simple work clothes like everyone else on the station. "I know where the bunker is," he said calmly. "Then why are you walking toward the entrance? The alpha beast will be here in minutes." Marcus gave her a strange look. It was not fear. It was not panic. If anything, he seemed almost annoyed, like someone had interrupted his breakfast. "Someone needs to buy time for the evacuation," he said. "Your shuttle needs 20 minutes to warm up." "The bunker can only hold 20 people. There are 37 researchers here." Kira stared at him. "You cannot be serious. You plan to face an alpha beast alone? That is suicide. That is worse than suicide. It is pointless death." "Maybe," Marcus said. He was already walking away. Get everyone to safety. I will handle this. Handle this? Kira grabbed his arm. Human, listen to me. I have studied alpha beasts for 15 cycles. They cannot be killed by handheld weapons. They cannot be reasoned with. They feel no pain and show no mercy. The Keltorian military once sent 50 soldiers against a single alpha beast. 50 trained warriors with the best weapons technology could provide. Do you know how many survived? I can guess, Marcus said. None. Not one. The creature killed them all in less than 3 minutes. What makes you think you can do better? Marcus gently removed her hand from his arm. Dr. Vithalis, I understand your concern, but you are wasting valuable time. Every second you spend arguing with me is a second your colleagues could use to reach safety. Please trust me. Before she could respond, he was gone. He walked through the main entrance and out into the open clearing in front of the station. Kira wanted to follow him, to drag him back inside, but she knew he was right about one thing. The others needed her help. She returned to evacuation duties. The bunker was filling up. Dr. Phoenix was organizing the shuttle preparations. Maybe they could get everyone underground or in the air before the creature arrived. Maybe they would not need the humans' sacrifice. But something made Kira return to the observation tower. She needed to see what would happen. Perhaps it was scientific curiosity. Perhaps it was guilt. She had let another being walk to their death without doing more to stop them. Through the tower's viewing screen, she could see Marcus standing alone in the clearing. He had removed his work jacket. He was stretching his arms and rolling his neck like an athlete preparing for a competition. The sight was absurd. This creature was about to face a monster that terrified the galaxy, and he was doing warm-up exercises. Then the alpha beast arrived. It crashed through the tree line like a living tank. The ground shook with each step. Its 3 heads roared in unison, a sound that Kira felt in her bones, even from inside the tower. The creature was massive, even larger than average for its species. Its scales were dark gray, almost black, scarred from countless battles. This was an old beast, experienced and deadly. Kira expected Marcus to run. Any sane being would run. Even knowing it was hopeless, the instinct to flee should have taken over. But the human did not move. He stood perfectly still, watching the monster approach. The alpha beast seemed confused by this. Prey always ran. Prey always screamed. This tiny, soft creature was doing neither. The beast slowed its charge, studying this strange new target. Marcus raised one hand and made a gesture that Kira did not understand. He curled all his fingers except the middle one and pointed it at the creature. Later, she would learn this was a human insult. At the moment, she simply thought he had lost his mind. The alpha beast roared again and charged. What happened next would stay with Kira for the rest of her life. She would tell this story 1,000 times, and each time people would call her a liar. But she knew what she saw. She recorded it on the tower's surveillance system. The evidence was undeniable, even if it was impossible to believe. Marcus moved. Kira had never seen anything move that fast. One moment he was standing still. The next moment he was beside the alpha beast's leftmost head. His fist connected with the creature's skull, and the impact sounded like a bomb going off. The beast's head snapped sideways. Several teeth flew through the air. The alpha beast stumbled. For the first time in its long life, something had hurt it. Something had actually hurt it. The creature's other 2 heads turned toward this new threat, jaws opening wide. Marcus was already moving again. He dodged a bite that would have cut him in half. His hand grabbed one of the creature's horns, and with a motion that looked almost casual, he ripped it clean off the beast's head. Black blood sprayed everywhere. The alpha beast screamed in pain and confusion. Kira's scientific mind could not process what she was seeing. The force required to remove an alpha beast's horn would be equivalent to lifting a small spacecraft. No biological creature should possess that kind of strength. Yet here was this human, this supposedly weak and primitive being, tearing pieces off the galaxy's most dangerous predator. The battle continued for another 2 minutes, though it hardly deserved to be called a battle. It was more like watching a giant be dismantled by an angry insect. Marcus dodged every attack with impossible speed. His counterstrikes broke bones and tore flesh. The alpha beast tried to retreat, something these creatures never did, but the human did not let it escape. The final moment came when Marcus grabbed the creature's middle head by its jaw. The alpha beast thrashed wildly, trying to shake him off. Its remaining heads snapped at him, but he twisted away from each bite while maintaining his grip. Then he pulled. The sound was horrible, wet and tearing, like fabric being ripped apart. But it was not fabric. It was the alpha beast's head being torn from its body. Marcus pulled it clean off, spine and all, in a shower of black blood and gore. The monster collapsed. Its remaining heads went limp. The 6 legs twitched once, twice, and then went still. The most feared predator in the galaxy lay dead in the clearing, killed by a single human with his bare hands. Marcus stood over the corpse, breathing heavily. He was covered in black blood. His shirt was torn. There was a wound on his arm where one of the beast's claws had grazed him. But he was alive. More than alive, he was victorious. Kira realized she had stopped breathing. She forced herself to inhale. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold on to the viewing console. In 40 cycles of studying dangerous creatures, she had never witnessed anything like this. The human looked up at the observation tower. He saw her watching and gave a small wave. Then he walked back toward the station entrance, stepping over the massive corpse like it was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. Kira had so many questions. What was this human? How was this possible? Everything she knew about the species said they were average at best. Mediocre strength, mediocre speed, mediocre senses. They had no natural adaptations for combat. They came from a relatively safe planet with moderate gravity and mild weather. Yet she had just watched one of them kill an alpha beast with his bare hands. It should have been impossible. It should have been a hallucination. But the body in the clearing was real. The blood dripping from Marcus Cole's hands was real. The other researchers were emerging from the bunker now. News of what happened was spreading. She could hear excited chatter in a dozen different languages. Soon, everyone would want to see. Everyone would want to know. Kira made a decision. She was a scientist. Her job was to document and understand the creatures of the galaxy. Well, she had just discovered that humans were far more dangerous than anyone believed. This required investigation. This required study. She would get answers from Marcus Cole, one way or another. The medical bay of Research Station Theron 7 had never been so crowded. Every scientist on the station wanted to examine Marcus Cole. They wanted to scan him, test him, sample his blood, but the human had refused all requests. He sat on a medical bed, letting a nursing drone clean and bandage the wound on his arm, and he answered no questions. Kira pushed through the crowd of curious researchers. She had authority here. As senior xenobiologist, she outranked everyone except the station director, and Director Yalos was currently hiding in his office, too afraid to come out. "Everyone leave," she commanded. "Now!" The other scientists protested. A Krellian biochemist argued that he needed tissue samples. A Morthani physicist insisted on measuring the human's bone density. Kira silenced them all with a look. "This is my department," she said firmly. "I will conduct the examination. If there are findings worth sharing, you will all receive full reports. Until then, return to your duties." The crowd dispersed slowly, reluctantly. Kira waited until the last of them had gone before turning to Marcus. He was still sitting on the bed, watching her with those unremarkable brown eyes. "Thank you," he said. "I was getting tired of being stared at like a specimen." "You are a specimen," Kira replied. "Or at least you should be. What you did out there defies everything we know about your species. You deserve to be studied." Marcus smiled slightly. "Maybe, but not today. I just killed something the size of a small building. I need a shower and about 12 hours of sleep. You will answer my questions first." "Will I?" The challenge in his voice surprised her. Kira was used to being obeyed. She was respected throughout the scientific community. But this human showed no sign of intimidation. "Please," she said, changing her approach. "I need to understand. I have dedicated my life to studying dangerous creatures. I have documented hundreds of species across dozens of worlds. I know everything about alpha beasts, their strength, their speed, their behavior patterns. What you did should have been impossible." Marcus was quiet for a moment. The nursing drone finished bandaging his arm and moved away. He flexed his fingers, testing the mobility of the wound. "What do you know about Earth?" he asked. "Your home planet? Basic information only. It is a carbon-based world with liquid water, standard atmosphere, moderate gravity, nothing exceptional." "That is what most species think," Marcus said. "They look at Earth and see a boring little planet. Nothing special, nothing dangerous. They see humans and think the same thing. No claws, no fangs, no natural weapons, soft skin, slow reflexes, just another prey species that somehow stumbled into space travel." "That is the common assessment, yes." Marcus leaned forward. "The common assessment is wrong, dead wrong, and that mistake has cost many species dearly." Kira pulled up a chair and sat down. "Explain." "Earth is not a moderate world. It is a death world, a Class 12 death world by galactic standards, though no one bothered to check before making assumptions. Our gravity is 40% higher than galactic average. Our weather includes hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. Our oceans contain predators that make your alpha beast look like a pet." "That seems exaggerated," Kira said skeptically. "Does it? We have fish in our oceans called great white sharks. They have been killing machines for 400 million years. We have jellyfish whose sting can stop a heart in 30 seconds. We have crocodiles that have remained virtually unchanged since the age of dinosaurs because they were already perfect killing machines. And those are just the water creatures." Kira's scientific mind was processing this information. "Even so, dangerous wildlife does not explain what you did. Raw physical strength and speed like that require specific biological adaptations." "Humans have those adaptations," Marcus said. "We just hide them well. Our muscles are designed for both endurance and explosive power. We can chase prey for hours until it collapses from exhaustion, then sprint at top speed to make the kill. We heal from injuries that would kill most species. We can survive temperature ranges from -40 to +50 degrees. We eat things that would poison almost any other species. Capsaicin, theobromine, alcohol, all deadly to others, all recreational for us. This still does not explain your strength. I watched you tear an alpha beast apart with your bare hands. The force required for that is beyond biological possibility." Marcus held up his hands. They looked normal. Ordinary human hands with 5 fingers each. Nothing special at all. These hands evolved to grip and tear. Our ancestors spent millions of years ripping meat from bone. We developed opposable thumbs for grabbing and pulling. Our tendons can withstand thousands of pounds of pressure. Most importantly, our brains have a limiter that prevents us from using our full strength. A limiter? Survival mechanism. If humans used their maximum strength for every action, we would tear our own muscles apart, so our brains restrict us to about 30% of our actual capability. It is automatic. Most humans never even know about it. Kira felt a chill run through her. But you can bypass this limiter? Some of us can, with training, with practice. It is not easy and it is not safe. Every time I access my full strength, I risk serious injury. But when the alternative is letting people die, the risk is acceptable. How did you learn this? Is it common knowledge among your species? Marcus shook his head. Not common, no. Most humans never need to access their full potential. They live safe lives in safe environments. But Earth has always had warriors, soldiers who train their bodies and minds to perform beyond normal limits. I spent 15 years in my planet's military before joining the galactic research community. I learned to control my strength the hard way. Kira was furiously making notes on her datapad. This information was revolutionary. If humans could truly access this kind of power, they were among the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The implications for interspecies relations were enormous. Why keep this secret? She asked. Why let everyone think humans are weak? Would you trust a species that could tear you apart with their bare hands? The question hit home. Kira thought about her own reaction to what she had witnessed. Yes, she was curious and fascinated, but she was also afraid. Deep down, she was terrified. If this one human could destroy an alpha beast alone, what could an army of them do? I understand, she said quietly. Humans learned long ago that showing weakness can be a strength. When everyone underestimates you, they do not prepare for what you can really do. We let other species think we are harmless. We smile and nod and act humble. We take jobs as researchers and merchants and diplomats. And everyone relaxes around us because we seem so unthreatening. But you are not unthreatening. No, we are apex predators from a death world. We just prefer not to act like it. Kira set down her datapad. Her mind was racing with new questions, new theories, new fears. Everything she thought she knew about the galactic order was changing. The Alpha Beast, she said. How did you know you could kill it? What if you had been wrong? I was not wrong. I have killed Alpha Beasts before. What? 3 times, actually. Twice during my military service. Once on a colony world that was being attacked. The creatures are tough, but they have weaknesses. Their scales are strongest on the back and sides. The joints are vulnerable. The connection between head and spine is surprisingly fragile if you apply force at the right angle. You make it sound simple. It is not simple. It is just not impossible. Marcus stood up from the medical bed. Dr. Vithalis, I appreciate your curiosity. I really do. But I need you to understand something important. What I told you today is not public information. Most humans prefer to keep our capabilities secret. It makes life easier for everyone. You want me to stay silent? I want you to be careful with what you share. If word spreads that humans are actually dangerous, it will change how everyone treats us. Some species will fear us. Others will want to eliminate us before we become a threat. The galaxy is not ready to know the truth about Earth. Kira considered this. As a scientist, her instinct was to share information. Knowledge should be free. But she also understood the political realities. Fear led to conflict. Conflict led to war. The galaxy had seen enough wars. I will be discreet, she said finally, but I want something in return. What? I want to study you, not as a specimen in a lab, as a research partner. I want to understand human biology properly. I want to document your capabilities in a controlled scientific environment. This knowledge could save lives someday. Marcus studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled. You are persistent. I like that. Fine, Dr. Vithalis. We have a deal. But everything we discover stays between us until we agree otherwise. Agreed. They shook hands. Kira noticed how carefully Marcus controlled his grip. He was being gentle with her, she realized, treating her like something fragile that might break. And perhaps compared to him, she was. Over the following days, life at Research Station Theron 7 returned to something like normal. The Alpha Beast's body was disposed of. Researchers went back to their usual work, but nothing was truly the same. Everyone looked at Marcus differently now, some with fear, some with awe. some with a disturbing kind of hunger. The Morthani physicist kept trying to get Marcus alone for tests. The Krellian biochemist offered enormous bribes for blood samples. Even Director Yalos emerged from his office to invite the human to private dinners, clearly hoping to learn more about human capabilities. Marcus refused all of them. He continued his regular duties as the station's human representative, handling communications with Earth and managing cultural exchange programs. He acted like nothing had changed. But Kira knew better. She had seen what he could do. She had heard his explanation of human biology, and she was beginning to realize that Marcus Cole had barely scratched the surface of what humans were capable of. They began their research sessions in the evenings, after other staff had retired. Kira ran tests on Marcus's strength, speed, and endurance. The results were staggering. Even while holding back, even while using only a fraction of his power, Marcus performed at levels that exceeded most military species. His reaction time was incredible. She threw objects at him from random directions, and he caught them every time. His grip strength registered higher than a Krellian warrior. His pain tolerance seemed almost unlimited. She accidentally cut him during one test, and he barely reacted. "How do you ignore pain like that?" she asked. "Training. Our military teaches techniques for managing pain signals. It is just information, really. The nerves tell the brain something is wrong, but we can choose how to respond to that information. Most species cannot choose. Pain is overwhelming. Most species did not evolve on a death world. Humans who could not function through pain died long before they could reproduce. Natural selection made us tough." The more Kira learned, the more impressed and frightened she became. Humans were not just strong. They were adaptable. They could survive almost anywhere. They ate everything. They recovered from injuries that would kill others. They bred quickly and raised their young to be just as resilient. And they were intelligent. Not in the same way as Valanthi, who excelled at pure logic and mathematics. Human intelligence was different. It was creative, unpredictable, and sometimes terrifying. They solved problems in ways that no other species would consider. They invented weapons and tools at an alarming rate. They learned from their mistakes and never made the same error twice. "Your species is perfect for war," Kira said one evening. "Has that ever concerned you?" Marcus was doing pull-ups on a bar he had installed in the research lab. He was barely sweating. "It concerns us constantly. Humans know what we are capable of. Our history is filled with wars, horrible, devastating wars that killed millions. We have seen what happens when we turn our capabilities against each other. Yet you still fight. Sometimes we have to. There are things worth fighting for. There are people worth protecting." He dropped from the bar and grabbed a towel. "Today, I fought to protect this station. 37 scientists who would have died without intervention. That is the right use of violence, the only right use." Kira nodded slowly. She was beginning to understand this human better. He was not a monster who enjoyed destruction. He was a protector who used his terrible abilities for good. The distinction mattered. "What would happen if your species decided to conquer the galaxy?" she asked. Marcus laughed. It was a genuine laugh, not mocking. "We would probably succeed. Humans are very good at conquest when we put our minds to it, but we would not enjoy the result. Empire building always leads to suffering. We learned that lesson the hard way on Earth. Now we prefer cooperation, trade, cultural exchange, building relationships instead of destroying them." That is reassuring. It should be. Humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. We get angry, and sometimes we act on that anger in ways we regret. But mostly we want the same things everyone else wants. Peace. Prosperity. A chance to explore the universe and understand our place in it. Kira thought about the alpha beast lying dead in the clearing. She thought about the 37 researchers who were alive because one human decided to stand against a monster. Maybe humans were dangerous. Maybe they were terrifying. but maybe that was not such a bad thing. The galaxy needed protectors. It needed beings who could stand against threats like alpha beasts. If humans could fill that role while also being partners and friends, perhaps their terrible strength was a blessing rather than a curse. Her datapad beeped. A message from the station director. He wanted a meeting first thing in the morning. The subject line simply read, "The human situation." Kira sighed. Politics was about to get involved. Whatever peace they had found was about to be disrupted. The meeting was worse than Kira had expected. Director Yallo sat at the head of the conference table, his massive form barely fitting in the chair. He was a Garanthi, a species known for their size and their fear of anything they could not control. Right now, he was clearly afraid. "The Galactic Council has been informed," he said. "They want the human removed from this station immediately." Kira felt her chest tighten. On what grounds? On grounds of being a potential threat to galactic security. Director Yallos tapped a data crystal on the table. Someone uploaded footage of the Alpha Beast incident to the public network. It has been viewed over 40 billion times in the past 3 days. The Council is terrified. Terrified of what? Marcus saved our lives. He tore apart an Alpha Beast with his bare hands. The director's voice rose sharply. Do you understand what that means? If one human can do that, what can a million of them do? What can a billion? The Council sees humanity as an existential threat. Kira stood up from her chair. That is absurd. Marcus has been nothing but cooperative and peaceful. He only used force because we were about to die. The Council does not care about context. They care about capability. And human capability, as demonstrated by your friend, is apparently unlimited. Another voice spoke from the corner of the room. Kira had not noticed him when she entered. A tall figure in dark robes, his face hidden by a hood. He stepped forward into the light, and she recognized the markings of a Cytherian inquisitor. The Galactic Council has authorized my office to handle this matter, the Cytherian said. His voice was cold and smooth. I am Inquisitor Verak. I will be conducting an investigation into human capabilities and intentions. What kind of investigation? Kira asked. The thorough kind. Verak moved to the table and placed a second data crystal beside the director's. We have already begun gathering information. Medical records, military histories, genetic samples, everything we can find about the human species. That sounds like preparation for war. It sounds like preparation for survival. The galaxy must protect itself against potential threats. Surely you, as a xenobiologist, understand that. Kira did understand. She had spent her career studying dangerous creatures. She knew better than anyone how the galaxy reacted to threats. Containment, neutralization, elimination. Those were the standard responses, and now humanity was being classified as a threat. Where is Marcus now? She asked. Confined to his quarters, Director Yallo said. For his own protection, of course. There have been incidents. Some staff members tried to attack him last night. Attack him? Why? Fear, panic. They watched the video and decided to strike first before he could hurt them. The director looked uncomfortable. The human defended himself without causing permanent injuries, but the situation is unstable. Kira left the meeting without another word. She needed to find Marcus. She needed to warn him about what was coming. His quarters were guarded by 2 station security officers. They let her pass without question. Inside, she found Marcus sitting calmly on his bed, reading something on a data pad. He looked up when she entered. Dr. Vithalis, I was wondering when you would come. You know what is happening? I know enough. The video went viral. The galaxy is scared. The authorities want to make an example of me. He set down the data pad. It was bound to happen eventually. Humans cannot stay hidden forever. You need to escape. Take a shuttle. Go back to Earth. Marcus shook his head. Running would only make things worse. It would confirm their fears. If I flee, they will assume all humans are dangerous and uncontrollable. The consequences for my species would be severe. So you will just let them imprison you? Execute you? I will let them see that humans can be trusted. Even when we are feared. Even when we are threatened. We do not lash out at everyone who is afraid of us. Kira sat down heavily. That is a significant risk. Inquisitor Verak does not seem interested in understanding. He seems interested in finding excuses for aggression. Then I will give him no excuses. I will be patient and cooperative. I will answer every question honestly. I will demonstrate that human strength comes with human restraint. And if that is not enough? Marcus smiled slightly. Then things will get complicated, but I would rather exhaust peaceful options first. The days that followed were tense. Inquisitor Verak conducted his investigation with brutal efficiency. He interrogated Marcus for hours at a time. He demanded physical tests that pushed even human endurance to its limits. He seemed determined to provoke a violent response. Marcus gave him nothing. No matter how Verak pushed, the human remained calm and compliant. He answered questions without anger. He performed tests without complaint. He treated everyone with respect, even those who clearly wanted him dead. Kira watched these sessions through the observation gallery. She took notes. She documented everything. And gradually, she began to see what Marcus was doing. He was not just surviving the investigation. He was winning it. Every day that passed without incident was proof that humans could control themselves. Every test he passed without aggression demonstrated that strength and violence were not the same thing. Slowly, carefully, Marcus was changing minds. Some of the station staff started treating him differently. The fear faded from their eyes. They saw a being who had every reason to fight back but chose not to. They saw patience in the face of persecution. They saw dignity in the face of humiliation. Even Inquisitor Verak seemed uncertain. His questions became less aggressive. His tests became less extreme. He was running out of ways to provoke the response he needed. Then the second Alpha Beast arrived. It happened in the middle of the night. The proximity alarm screamed just like before, but this time there was no gradual approach. This time, the creature charged the station at full speed and crashed through the outer wall. Chaos erupted. Researchers fled in all directions. Security officers fired weapons that bounced harmlessly off the beast's scales. Director Yalos fainted in his office. The station began to fall apart around them. Kira found herself trapped in a corridor. Debris blocked both exits. Through a shattered window, she could see the Alpha Beast rampaging through the main research hall. It was even larger than the first one. Its roars shook the entire structure. She thought she was going to die. There was no escape, no rescue coming. The creature would find her eventually, and her story would end in this broken corridor. Then Marcus appeared. He had broken out of his quarters. The door lay in pieces behind him. 2 security guards were unconscious on the floor, carefully placed to the side so they would not be trampled. Marcus moved past Kira without stopping. "Stay here," he said. "This will be messy." "Wait, the Inquisitor will use this against you." "Probably. But I am not going to let people die to protect my reputation." He walked toward the Alpha Beast. The creature turned all 3 heads toward this new target. It recognized him somehow. Perhaps it could smell the blood of its kind on him. Perhaps Alpha Beasts communicated in ways Kira did not understand. Either way, the monster focused entirely on Marcus. This fight was different from the first one. The Alpha Beast knew what it was facing. It did not charge blindly. It circled, looking for openings. Its movements were calculated and precise. Marcus adapted. He moved differently too. Less aggressive, more defensive. He was drawing the beast away from the populated areas of the station. He was leading it outside, where the damage would be contained. The creature realized what was happening and tried to break away toward a group of cowering researchers. Marcus would not allow it. He sprinted past the beast and blocked its path. The alpha beast roared in frustration. "Over here!" Marcus shouted. "I am the one you want!" The fight spilled out into the clearing where the first battle had occurred. The body of the previous alpha beast had been removed, but the ground was still stained black with old blood. The new creature seemed to recognize the scent. Its rage intensified. Kira had freed herself from the debris and made her way to an observation point. She had to see. She had to document. Whatever happened next, someone needed to bear witness. Marcus was struggling. This alpha beast was stronger, faster, smarter than the first. It had learned from its predecessor's death. It protected its vulnerable points. It attacked in patterns designed to prevent counterattacks. Blood appeared on Marcus's body. Human blood. Red, not black. He was taking hits. Each one cost him something. But he kept fighting. Inquisitor Verak appeared beside Kira. His hood was down, revealing a face that mixed fear and fascination in equal measure. "Why does he not run?" the Inquisitor asked. He could escape. The beast would kill the others and he would survive. "Because that is not who he is," Kira said. "That is not who humans are. They would sacrifice themselves for aliens, for species that fear and hate them. They would sacrifice themselves for anyone who needs protection. That is their nature. That is what makes them human." Below, Marcus had grabbed the alpha beast's foreleg. He was pulling, twisting, trying to break the joint. The creature screamed and thrashed. Its other legs kicked at him. Its heads snapped at his body. Then something changed. Marcus roared. It was not a human sound. It was primal, ancient, terrifying. The limiter he had described to Kira, the barrier that held back human strength, he had released it completely. His muscles visibly swelled. Veins stood out against his skin. He ripped the creature's foreleg clean off and swung it like a club, shattering one of the heads. The alpha beast collapsed onto its remaining legs. Marcus did not stop. He climbed onto the creature's back. He grabbed the central head and pulled. The beast's remaining heads tried to reach him, but he was positioned perfectly. They could not touch him without touching each other. The central head came off with a spray of black blood. Then the right head. Then the left. Each removal was accompanied by that terrible ripping sound that Kira remembered from the first battle. The alpha beast died badly. Piece by piece, limb by limb, Marcus took it apart. When he finally stopped, he was standing in a lake of black blood, surrounded by the remains of a monster that the galaxy considered unbeatable. He looked up at the observation point. His eyes met Kira's. Then they met Verak's. "Are you satisfied?" Marcus called out. His voice was hoarse. "Have you seen enough?" The Inquisitor did not answer. He simply stared at the carnage below. His face had gone pale. Kira turned to him. "This is what humans are. They are Death World survivors. They are apex predators. They could destroy anything in this galaxy if they chose to. But they do not choose destruction. They choose protection. They choose sacrifice. They choose to stand between monsters and innocents even when the innocents hate them." "Why?" Verak whispered. "Why would any species do that?" "Because somewhere in human evolution, they decided that strength without purpose was meaningless. They developed ethics, morality, empathy. They learned to feel the pain of others and to act on that feeling. That is the real secret of humanity. Their power is terrifying, but their hearts are beautiful." Marcus had collapsed in the clearing. The strain of accessing his full strength had finally caught up with him. Station staff were rushing to help. Medical drones were already scanning for injuries. Verak watched in silence for a long moment. Then he reached into his robes and produced a communication device. "This is Inquisitor Verak reporting to the Galactic Council," he said. "My investigation into the human situation is complete." Kira tensed. Here it came. The recommendation for containment or elimination. The official classification of humanity as a threat species. My findings are as follows, Verac continued. Humans possess physical capabilities far beyond our initial assessments. They are potentially the most dangerous species in the galaxy. However, they are also potentially the most valuable allies we could ever have. I recommend immediate diplomatic outreach. I recommend military partnership programs. I recommend that we stop treating humanity as a threat and start treating them as what they truly are, protectors. Kira felt tears forming in her eyes. She had not expected this. She had prepared for the worst. What changed your mind? She asked. Verac looked at the clearing where Marcus was being carried to the medical bay. I came here looking for a monster. I found a hero. The galaxy needs heroes, Dr. Vithalis. We have been afraid for too long. Perhaps it is time we learn to stand with those who stand for us. The news of Verac's report spread quickly. Within days, everything changed. Human embassies were flooded with requests for alliance. Military commanders wanted human advisors. Research stations wanted human security personnel. The species that had been dismissed as primitive and weak was suddenly the most sought after in the galaxy. Marcus recovered from his injuries within a week. Human healing abilities, Kira noted in her research file, were even more impressive than their strength. He took the sudden fame in stride, deflecting credit and emphasizing that any human would have done the same thing. Kira visited him on his last day at the station. He was being transferred to a new position, coordinating human-alien military cooperation for an entire sector. I suppose I should thank you, she said. Your demonstration changed everything. Marcus shrugged. I just did what needed to be done. You are the one who explained it to the Inquisitor. You are the one who helped him understand. We make a good team. We do. Marcus extended his hand. Maybe we will work together again someday. The galaxy is a big place, and there are a lot of monsters out there. Kira took his hand. This time she was not afraid of his strength. She had seen what that strength was for. I look forward to it, she said. Try not to tear apart anything too important in the meantime. Marcus laughed. No promises. He walked to his shuttle without looking back. Kira watched him go, thinking about everything she had learned, about death worlds and limiters, about strength and restraint, about a species that could destroy everything but chose to protect instead. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again, and perhaps that was for the best. In her final research notes, Kira wrote a simple conclusion. Humanity is not a threat to be feared. Humanity is a promise to be embraced. They are the guardians we never knew we needed, born from a world that tried to kill them every day. And somehow, against all odds, they chose to be kind. She hoped the galaxy would remember that. She hoped they would be worthy of the protection humans offered. Because in a universe full of alpha beasts and worse, having Death World survivors on their side might be the only thing that kept them all alive.